We're all hardcore Gleeks up here at Code Match. All right, get ready.
Cool.
3, 2, 1.
Hi everyone, so this is my first US conference. It's delightful to be here in the US, particularly so I can say thank you for your wonderful cultural export, the pinnacle of culture that is Glee. Now, I first watched this thinking that it was about high school kids singing, but I have now discovered the code behind the songs. It's all about code. It talks about newness. When I first developed on a ZX Spectrum with a basic manual, no Stack Overflow to help me, just that one thick manual, and I gradually got into coding. And eventually, I started learning other languages, C from a ring binder of random things. But learning is a perpetual process within development, and Glee celebrates that with getting to know you. I don't know how much harder it is learning a language than small kids, but, you know, we can go there. Glee also talks about specific technologies. Clearly, Man in the Mirror is about reflection and reflection APIs. What new language or platform these days does not include some sort of way of finding out more about what's going on under the covers? That's not the only specific technology. We have interop. You always talk between different platforms. So next time you're doing JNI, God help you. Next time you're doing interop, pinvoke, or just SOAP, REST, whatever, I want you to have Simon and Garfunkel in the back of your mind singing the wonderful Bridge Over Troubled Water across the web, talking one service to another, and of course persistence. I don't know whether Gloria Gaynor knows Hibernate and Entity Framework, but of course we want our data to survive. As soon as we have committed that transaction, it has to stay there, at least for the moment. We'll talk more about that later on. So, unfortunately, we can't always get specs. We can't always get a perfect spec right at the start. Now, I don't know whether you'll agree with the punch of this song saying, if you try really hard, you might just get what you need. Sometimes you won't even get the specs that you need. And Glee sympathizes with you. But it also has a bit of an answer. Lean on me. Lean and agile development. That we can adapt to constantly changing specifications. And eventually we will have something that is useful. Maybe nothing like what we initially envisaged, but it will be something useful. Excuse me. Now, I've fallen out of love with Java, so I dedicate losing my religion to Enterprise Java. I never actually used Enterprise Jesus Beans, but I did use other bits of Enterprise Java, and I'm sorry, I have lost that particular religion. And I saw many other people have done exactly the same thing. And so we get the rise of dynamic languages, where there is no compiler to tell you you cannot invoke that member. Anything goes until it blows up at runtime. I'm not a big fan of dynamic languages myself. I'm glad they exist. Variety is brilliant. It's wonderful that we have all these platforms. And I have noticed that before we've always had passionate developers, but now we have happy developers. Ruby fans, I'm talking about you. I have never seen as happy developers as Ruby devs. They seem to just exude it everywhere. I don't even use Ruby. I look at Ruby, I can't see what makes people happy, but it clearly does. Now, I don't know what the Glee writers have against Microsoft. I have nothing against Microsoft, but there is no bust your Mac OS X. There is no bust your Linux, only bust your Windows. So, you know, I apologise for this, but it had to go in. However, since joining Google, I've been finding out more and more the importance of redundancy. Dirty word in most industries, but in our industries, redundancy is a good thing. We dance around making sure it'll all be safe if anything goes wrong. Because the one thing we do not want is... messed up timing. A single point of failure. If one thing goes wrong and it takes your whole service down, you will be fired. Depending. I had a friend who brought down Gmail for about 5 minutes. The whole of Gmail, I think. Yeah, he was fine. We laughed about it, honest. I think it was a bit panicky at the time. But yeah, we don't like single point of failures. Glee celebrates the rise of phone apps. Who these days could be unaware of how important it is for development of mobile applications? And obviously, we can credit the iPhone for that. But since the iPhone and just smartphone apps, we've also started tablets and touch screen devices of all kinds. So Windows 8, very touch-based, and sooner or later, we're all going to have to get with it. I don't do UIs. I've never done a touch UI in my life. I have no idea how it all works. But clearly, it's one of the ways forward. However, if users are giving more and more information to our devices, we need the opposite of persistence. We need the ability to forget about them. We need privacy controls. We need to be able to say to our devices, forget about me right now. Wipe everything you have ever known about me. And that's surprisingly hard. I'd like to leave on an up note. So I'm clearly very, very excited, really, really excited about C# 5 and its await keyword. So I ask you, I beg you, please be excited about development. And always bear in mind your users, who we can't do without. Now, normally we say, think of the user and think of what they're doing. Be joyful about the users. Be excited about the fact that you are making people happy. Even if you're doing enterprise apps, you're hopefully making someone's job more feasible at least. But other people are making them really happy. This is a wonderful thing. We should all be celebrating the fact that in our lives we do amazing stuff. So to sum up, have fun, keep learning, really, really enjoy what you're doing, and
how they did not think this is a great idea. And the best part is going to be in the very end when I tell them that their scores are going to be matter. Julie.
Jon, I loved it. It had music. You danced. And the only thing, though, is it really made me question the authenticity of Simon's accent.
I mean, if you're going to pretend to be an Englishman, the least you could do is try to get it right. That was probably...
That's not a knife.
That's not an accent.
I don't know what that was. It's Scottish Korean. Pete, what do you think about our good friend here from the other side of the pond?
We got another hot one right here, Scott. Oh, brother, dog pound back down. Loved it, man. Loved it. It was good. Good.
Let's talk about authentic accents. Bring the noise, baby. Bring the noise.
Skeet power. Look at the tweet.
Jon Skeet, you're a beautiful man. You did a great job.